Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to another panel discussion where authors talk. And we will be picking up pretty much right where we left off, just with authors that could not make it on Sunday. We are going to discuss kind of the pros and cons of getting out there and being an author. So we have author Tiesha Janae. It's such a pleasure to have her. She, in addition to being an author, is also a minister, and she has a lot going on in this industry. So, Tiaja, do you want to introduce yourself and kind of tell the people what you have going on?
Sure, I would love to. Hi, everybody. I am, as she mentioned, author Tiasha Janae, and I'm also a publisher with the Journey Publishing. But recently have just launched something amazing, which is what one of our coaches calls it is a bow gift, where you buy one get four coaches in a publishing space. So this topic is like so good for me right now because we are in that industry of where we are helping people to write a book and letting people understand that, listen, it don't take all that. So we want to help you to release that stress that you have in writing a book, and get your words out there on paper, because there's a reason for that burning desire on the inside of you to be released. So as I mentioned, I am a coach. I go by the Total Package Coach. Somebody coined me that name because I help people to unlock that present. You think about a gift, you think about that package, it's wrapped with a bow. Well, we're going to help you untie that bow and pull that purpose up out of you so that you can release what it is God wants you to release in this world. So that is me, and I am complete.
So, when you say the complete package coach, go a little more in detail in what the complete package consists of, because some people have no idea.
Right. So the Total Package Coach is what I go by.
Okay,
And
I'm sorry.
so it's okay. Listen, it's okay. And basically what the total package is that when we are born, we kind of have an idea of who we want to be. And sometimes that idea gets revamped and changed along the way.
Mm-hmm.
One, because we are growing, we are learning, we are moving through different processes in our life. We're learning who we are and why we're here and our purpose on this earth. And so other people play a big part in who we become. And sometimes it gets a little altered and a little switched around, and we kind of forget because God has placed that thing on the inside of us, but we forget who that is because we're so busy caught up in being that lawyer, that doctor, that whatever everybody wants us to be. And
Yeah.
so I help you to kind of backtrack and go back. What is that goal, that dream, that vision that was placed on the inside of you? We got to unlock it. We got to unwrap that present, that
Mm.
package. We got to unwrap it. And what that means is pretty much pulling back those layers, taking those layers back and getting back to the core of who you are so that you can be that seed that we plant to grow and prosper in the earth. So that includes your health, your wealth, your beauty, your finance, your mindset, spiritual journey, whatever that is for you that you have like buried in the back of your mind because your focus is, I just want to be everything my mom and dad told me I could be. And sometimes they don't have the answer. God does. And so he has placed that in you, but we forget what that is because we are just poured into by so many people of what they expect us to be and who they expect us to be. So we help you unlock that.
Now that's a good thing, because after hearing you say that, it makes me think about growing up.
Mm.
And when we were growing up, it was the whole transition going on and pushing women were going into the workforce and things were just starting to change.
Mhm.
And so the expectation was that you were going to go to college and you were going to have a career. Now,
Mhm.
it was okay if it was a business you owned or if you worked for someone else, but you had to have the education to move up the ranks in the
Mhm.
career force. Now, mind you, it all sounded good, but even now, they're not really still letting us into some of these career seats. And I remember creative writing was my thing.
Mhm.
Anything that I was feeling, I could put on paper. Anything that I may not seem to be able to express verbally, I
Mhm.
could put on paper. So I would be in all of the creative writing competitions, essay competitions, anything like that, I would do. So
Right.
in high school, you know how you have the who's who in this and who's who in that.
Mhm.
Writing was my thing. And I can always remember it was applauded, but it was never considered a career. It
Right.
was always considered a hobby,
Mhm.
you know? And so when I was young, my grandmother wrote. And I feel like she worked on the book my whole life.
Mm.
And
Okay.
never, and you would see him put all the manuscript in the envelope to send off to the different publishers for someone to pick it up. And it just seemed like it was just not what you wanted to do if you wanted to make money.
Right.
Okay.
Of course not.
Moving forward, I had kids. You know, you go into real life, and when real life hits,
Mhm.
the need for money has now kicked in.
Mhm.
So I'll never forget talking to my ex husband about wanting to write a book and him telling me, well, we got kids. You ain't got time to be writing no book.
Mm.
Okay. And
See.
so my first book, and a lot of people who've heard my story have heard this, my first book was an act of rebellion.
Mm.
I wrote the book just to prove I could.
Okay.
Got divorced, and the next month I wrote a book. Okay.
Okay. I know
And
that's right.
I'm going to prove to you that whatever you said was wrong and I can write this book.
Mhm.
Now, I say all that to say if you guys are encouraging people to move in their creative space, that is amazing because our creative space is like a fire
Mhm.
and someone is forever dumping water on
And
that
finding
creative
it out.
space.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You don't have time for that. The rent is due, the mortgage is due, the light bill is due, this is due. What do you mean you writing? The kids need dinner, the cow needs milking, whatever it is.
Mhm.
There's no time to write. So, what would you tell that young mother? Because now my kids are grown, and I want to say yours are not little anymore. They're kind of right in that mid stage where they can kind of, if you need to write, fend for themselves a little. But what would you tell that young mother, that early 20s mother, with the babies still making noise and singing, watching Elmo, and how to allow their creativity to still flow?
This is so funny that you said that because I don't know if you caught, but right before we went live, there was a baby crying in the background. Did you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
That's my baby. I just had another one
You
7 months
did just have
ago.
a baby.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And my oldest is 20. She'll be 21 in March.
Mm-hmm.
And also in March the baby will be 1. So that goes to show you my span of children. I have I have 7 children. So 2 girls and 5 boys. And it is hard. It is very hard to write. Um the last time we talked was when you had the Power of an Overcomer book
Mm-hmm.
and a little bit after that. But during that time frame, I had lost 2 babies. I had lost my father. I had went through a lot. Okay. And in that process, my health started to fail. Things started to just kind of get out of whack. And then God blessed me with my new baby. Well, in that process, I had another book from right before The Power of an Overcomer was when that book was to be released. And then all hell broke loose. I don't know if you recall that season in my life, but it was all over the place. Well, I started to give up on that book. And I had wanted to release that book before I even found out about The Power of an Overcomer. And I kept waiting and pushing back. And my youngest son, who is now 10 years old, when he was 2 years old, I was given the vision to write that book, and I just kept pushing it back, pushing it back, pushing it back. Well, he was born in 2012. And then in 2018, God sent me somebody because I kept telling God, I don't know how to get started on a book. I don't know the first thing about writing a book, putting no book out there. How you expect me to write a book? And he sent me Wanda D. Hollis, the motivational queen. She came to me and she was like, listen, we're gonna write a book. I got all these people, and I need two more people for this project. And God was just pulling on me. He was like, go do that one. Then you could do the one I told you to do. Well, he pulled on me. And I was just like, but she need $100, God. I don't have $100. And so I went to my dad and I begged him. I said, Daddy, listen, I need $100 so I can write a book. And he was looking at me like, $100 for a book? Well, shoot, if that's all it costs, then here. And he gave me $100 bill. I remember that day like it was yesterday. I took a picture of it and I said, "Here, Wanda, here's the picture. Don't I mean, lock me in because I'm coming." And she was like, "Sweetheart, I don't even know you for one." Like I know she's thinking that in the back of her head. Like, I don't even know you, but that ain't how you lock in your spot on this project. Now we live 2 hours apart from each other. I had a PayPal account, wasn't really using it like to send money to people or whatever. But people would send me money. I had a card and I go swipe it, I could use the money. But
Yeah.
I wasn't using it the way that you should really use it in business until this moment. And so I say all this to say is that during this time frame, I've had um at this time I had 6 children. My youngest was, let me see, that was 2018. This is 2022. So he was 6 years old. So this is 4 years in that God told me to write a book. And I still ain't wrote that book. I'm going to tell you, procrastination. When he tells you to do something, obedience, slow obedience, is still disobedience. So remember that. If he tell you to move, you got to move then, okay? And
Exactly.
my book is still getting in the process of releasing. And I pray to God that we can get it done this month. But when I tell you everything just life starts to happen and you start to forget about that burning desire, that thing that you really want to do. You let people tell you what you can't do and why you can't do it. Well, I'm going to suggest to you, because of the things that happen in that process with me, my main thing that I can tell you that works is that you get around people like this lady right here and some other authors that have done it, and you will feel empowered and inspired to do it again. Whether it's writing that book, starting that podcast, I don't care what it is you want to do. There's a reason that you have a burning desire on the inside to do those things. It's because that's where your purpose lies. And so don't let nobody, and I mean nobody, I don't care who they are. They can be your mama, your daddy, your brother, sister, cousin, auntie. You know, don't allow them to stop you from living in your purpose. It's for a reason. I'm a firm believer that your test is a testimony, that your
Hmm.
mess is a message, that your history, your past is his story. It's
Yeah.
God's story. He already wrote it and he has put it on the inside of you for you to go help somebody else. Why? Because what I also say is your SW times four. Some will, some won't. So what?
Hmm.
Who's waiting? Some
Yeah.
people will support you. Some people will push you and guide you along the way. Some people won't. You're going to always have somebody that's standing up against you and that purpose. Why? Because the devil's going to do his job too. And you got to be strong enough to know that if God gave it to you, that it is for a reason and that it is for now. The time is now. And so when the enemy, when he sends the enemy to come after you, he comes after you because there is a purpose there, that you are there to set people free. And if
Yeah,
you don't release that book, that story, that testimony, that message into the atmosphere, somebody else that's tied up into you will not get healed and delivered and set free. So some people will, some people won't. They won't buy, they won't support, and that's okay. So what? Somebody is waiting for you. So find that person. That's my goal. Don't stop. Keep going, move forward, and write that book.
exactly.
Mhm.
Um, I say all the time, would I like to see great sales? Of course. Would I like to be on the New York bestseller list? Of course.
Mhm.
But if it reaches just one
Mhm.
and it makes a difference,
Yes.
then that means more to me than anything, because um, we did do that Power of an Overcomer book with, who was that visionary?
India.
India White.
Mhm.
And I will be honest and tell you, anthologies, they're a love hate relationship.
Mhm.
I will participate in them because I love to write.
Mhm.
But sometimes the process with the anthology will make you say all
Uh-huh.
kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
So you have to, if you've never written and you're considering being in an anthology, it may be a good ground to test. It may be, I will be honest, it wasn't my first thing. I jumped out and did a book. Well, actually, I was probably up to 4 books by the time I did my first anthology, just because in an anthology, now you're under somebody else's kind of direction and
Mhm.
topic. But if you've never written and you're not sure that you can write a whole book, it's the best place to test out your chapters
Mhm.
on topics at a time.
Right.
Um, I will say my first book was Rebellion. It wasn't the message that I later had to release. It was just me proving that I could. And so my first 3 books was an erotica series. But
Mhm.
then I had done it. It was off my bucket list. So I
Mhm.
wasn't going to really write anymore. I was kind of done with the whole process.
Mhm.
And then I began to hear the voice of the Father speaking to me
Mhm.
about my past, being the child of an addicted mother, having been through molestation, child abuse, spousal abuse, and different things like that.
Mhm.
And him revealing to me that all that pain was building me for my purpose. And
Mhm.
my purpose would be to take that pain to help others heal.
That's right.
And so when he put in my spirit to write, well, it was then I turned into, it was rebellious in a different way. I wasn't going to write that story. I didn't know what people would think of me. I didn't know what people would. I didn't think I would have anybody even talk to me again after some of the stuff that needed to go in this book. And so, because of disobedience,
Mhm.
oh goodness, Tiasha is 100% right about disobedience.
Mhm.
I ran from the writing of this book until I ran myself into a place where I was flat on my back in a bed and couldn't get up. And while I was in that bed sick, I heard, literally as if someone was in the room with me,
Mhm.
now you can't do anything else.
My
Write
God.
this book. Okay.
Girl, let me sit back on that one.
And when I tell you that I got that laptop and I went to type it, and by the time I was done, I had the first 2 books in the series. They dropped 2 weeks apart.
Mm.
I realized that, one, We don't control time. We don't control time. We never know if when our moment is up. I
Jesus.
don't say that to scare or depress anybody, but you better know in an inkling of a moment, you can be out of here.
Mm-hmm.
I went from being healthy and hanging out with the kids to having blood pressure issues that had me on my back. And they couldn't figure out what was triggering it. Other than what they kept saying is I was severely anemic, which I knew that, but my iron levels were bottom out, my blood pressure levels were topped out, the pills weren't really bringing any level to it, and I didn't know what to do other than pray. The doctors were looking at me like, how was I even awake to talk to them? How was I even walking into the hospital with
Mm.
blood pressure that high?
Mm-hmm.
Going into stat thinking I'm getting ready to have a stroke and the whole 9 yards. And let me tell you, I'm so very thankful that to be here still. Till now, when I hear it, I go ahead and I do it. And so
Moves.
that's how I
Yep.
ended up with so many books out because I had to do a series because now everybody's on this microwave lifestyle. Everything is so fast. So you can't write a 500-page book. Like when we were kids, we'd sit and read chapter for chapter. It might take weeks.
Mm.
Now, once they pick it up and read, when they put it back down, they may never pick it back up. So you got
Mm-hmm.
to get to that point kind of quick.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided I was going to not go too much over a 2 hour read in
Okay.
a book. So when they sat it down, if they didn't pick it back up, at least they got the message.
Mm-hmm.
And I went through there telling the story of overcoming being the child of an addict. Because a lot of people don't realize how that impacts the children. You're
Mm-hmm.
talking about an unprotected child for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's just how that goes. Overcoming me, because we can talk about all the things we went through, but everything has an impact on you.
Mm-hmm.
So this now forms, and it takes this innocent, happy person and turns them into pretty much a little monster.
Mm-hmm.
Because the theory when they say hurt people is 100% true.
Mm-hmm.
And so we all try to act like it's not. But we find ourselves in a situation where now we're not necessarily the victim. Now we've moved from being this victim into victimizing or
Mm-hmm.
being the antagonist. And so that's what the series is about. But do you still have the podcast? Are you still doing the podcast? Have you?
I took a sabbatical, but we are revamping the podcast. So I am excited about that because it's time. It's time to get people back into the swing of things. And I'm actually moving to two. Well, I'm going to have two. So one is just the podcast that is going to be on Facebook and YouTube and things of that nature. But then there's another one that is really more like a talk show. And so that one is coming in the new year, and I'm so excited. I am actually looking for all of my co-hosts now so that we can plan and promote. So I'm excited.
Well, definitely, when considering distribution, if you want to put it up on the Roku Fire Stick platform, just let me know. I have no problem. I'll put it on the channel. You have my
Oh,
full support in
okay.
the video based one. You really do have my full
Awesome.
support.
Awesome.
Um, because you have so much going for you. See, I knew I hadn't heard from you in a while, but I didn't realize you were going through all of that with the babies.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry you went through all that. Please accept my condolences for those situations. But those were distractions.
Oh yeah.
They were designed to knock you so low that you didn't get back up. And through this process of getting back up, that pain is going to fuel you. It's going to fuel you like your little flickers of flame.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to fuel you. And so I look forward to see when you relaunch the podcast and drop the talk show.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very interested in seeing that. Now, in your total package, other than the initial coaching to bring them out of their shell,
Mm-hmm.
what what else are you offering so that they know what who to look for this stuff?
Oh wow, we'll be here all day if I. Well, I'm gonna say this. I do interviews. I do have a space on a magazine that is also launching. We do have more anthologies that seems to be my baby. It's something about anthologies, and so I love connecting people in different areas of expertise because the thing about connection and community is that we can grow together. And so with that being said, I have launched a elite network, and that network is in soft launch mode right now, and it's called the TWCC network. In order to be a part of that, you have to get with an ambassador or myself to be a part of that movement. It is closed and it is not public. It is, where you could come into a community space. Yes, there's a membership attached to that. There's three different levels to that. And within those three memberships, there are so many different things that you can, get from those packages. We got the basic, the premium, and the VIP memberships. And we look forward to kind of growing with other entrepreneurs, those, especially those who have not started a business yet and don't know where to start. They want to know, like, what kind of information can I get? Who can I connect to mentor me? And so that's basically what this process is that the ambassadors of the network are also stakeholders in a what I call a company where we are mentoring the individuals who come into that network so we can help them get to the level that they're wanting to be. If they want to write a book, we can show them how to write a book. If they want to become a publisher, we can show them the steps it takes to be a publisher. If they want to start a podcast or a TV show, a radio station, if they want to, move into, I don't know, cosmetology, whatever the case may be, wherever our ambassadors are, we want to make sure that we have somebody that covers that need for those individuals. And so we are starting where we are. That's my first podcast that I did. It's called Start Where You Are. And what that is, you don't have everything yet. And sometimes you need tools. Um, a lot of times, what that means is what we do as individuals, we think that we can do it by ourselves. And there's nothing wrong with doing things by yourself. You were born by yourself. You're probably going to die by yourself. Your soul leaves by itself. But the way that God have created us to to fellowship with one another, I am drawn back to that fellowship. You know, Steve Harvey says it best when he talks about the dash in our life. We were born and we have a birth date and then we're going to die. We don't know what that date is. But what are we doing in that dash? That dash is where we are to uplift each other, encourage one another. Things that you share with others. You didn't learn that by yourself. Somebody shared it with you. And even if you did the research, even going and Googling it or looking at it on YouTube or anything like that, you still did not learn it by yourself. And so somebody taught you. Now let's pay it forward. So that's what this organization is about, is for everybody to win. TWCC Network means the Winners Connection Club Academy. And so we're going to use the academy as our place or as our university, in other words, to house all of our products, our services, our events, our books. So there's a library that's in there. If you have a book and you want to post your book, you can do that. If you have a course or a product or service, we are there to help promote you. So there is a level to what you can get in the different levels. So that's one of the biggest things that I am promoting right now, to not be here all day and share everything that I do. I think you muted, sis.
Most definitely on a sidebar.
Mm-hmm.
Reach out to me on that because you know part of what my office does is, in addition to training tax preparers on how to do taxes, we're
Mm-hmm.
a service bureau. So we teach tax preparers ready for their own office how to um, legally and ethically open an office,
Mm-hmm.
and we provide both uh, tax preparation software and training. So
Okay.
we may be able to, yeah, we do business formation and all that. So we,
Okay.
because remember, I had to have a career, so I went to
Yes.
school for accounting. Like, so we may be able to assist in some type of way. So just
Oh yeah, definitely. Look,
definitely
I
let me
appreciate that. And I tell you, God has a way of connecting people for a certain time. Like I said, it's been a while since we connected last, and it's just so funny because your story always resonated with me, and I had a heart for you. And then once, you go through certain things, you just kind of forget. And then all of a sudden, God reminds you. And I was like, oh my God, look, Precious sent me a message. So I was so excited to see you come back and pop back up. Because Facebook and how the algorithms work and things of that nature, you just get lost. There's so many people, and God is just doing a new thing. He is definitely answering my prayers. And I told God, I said, you want me to release this book, you want me to do these things, I'm going to need you to send me provision. So whatever you haven't told me to do, you need to send the people that's supposed to do those things for me. And I'm just so grateful, and I thank you again for the opportunity to come on and speak with you today.
Oh, well, I just thank you for coming and taking your time because you could be with the new little mama in there doing other things. Um, I am going to be respectful of your time and have us go ahead and wrap it up. But can you let anybody watching know how to reach you if they're interested in getting your total package?
Yeah, definitely. You can all reach me on all social media platforms, and I am not joking. Every single one, as I am Tiasha Janae. IAMTEASHAJENEA. You can reach me everywhere, just like that. Whether it's my website is iamtiashajanae.com. You got Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, Pinterest. I'm not playing. Everywhere. Just Google me and you will find me. And so I did it that way so that it's easy. It's one thing to remember about me, and it's my name. So connect with me. I will be glad to talk with you and see how we can get you to start that business or make life happen for you. Let's do it.
Yeah. I thank you so much. My number has not changed. So
Oh,
if you
okay.
still have it, we
I
definitely
should.
need to keep in touch. And I'm just glad you came on.
Yes, ma'am.
And
I'm glad to be here.
thank you for sharing so much. Um, thank you guys all for tuning in. And Mr. Jones, I do see your comment. I'll message you directly on LinkedIn. And I just thank you guys. I hope we've helped someone today.
Yes. Thank you.